All right, so before we get started, reminders, please put your phones again on vibrate. Make sure this part is very interactive. I will be showing you some videos. We'll do some interactive questions back and forth before we move on to the next module. It's gonna be a few videos. They're gonna talk about different scenarios, situational awareness. We're gonna learn how to do stop the bleed. We're gonna learn how to wound pack. You're gonna learn how to use a tourniquet if absolutely necessary and you have to save your life or a loved one. It is important to know bleeding techniques. And then at the end, we're gonna learn the difference between cover, concealment, and what to do in case of an act of violence or active shooter. Again, it is not intended to scare you. It is made to make you more aware and empower you to know how to respond to these situations. So before we get started, I want to invite Anna. She is from a department that I still can't say the name, but she will tell you what department she's from and tell you all the different programs that we offer here for the youth in the summer. Everyone, please, Anna. Welcome, Anna. That mic works.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, I'm Miss Anna. Say hi back. And so we have a lot of programs for students interested in careers in healthcare. Anybody want to be a doctor? Raise your hand high. Anybody want to be a nurse? Any other health careers here? What was that? Yeah, tell me what career? OBGYN, all right. What about over here? Any health careers over here? No? Yes? Oh, and neonatal NP. Okay, so we have programs for all our students. Our programs range from like virtual programs to like entire summer programs. I see some of you who have been in our programs. Our first program over the summer has I think it's about $1,200 stipend. You're with us for 4 weeks here in the summer, and you learn. It's for students interested in careers in sports and healthcare. And so you're with us 4 weeks, you conduct research, and you get to shadow doctors in the hospital. We also have our fall program where you get to dissect brains, a few eyes and lungs and all of that of animals, and students usually love that, but it's really focused on exposing you to what it means to be in medical school and also other health careers, a day in the life of those health careers. Then we have our virtual program in the wintertime that's called Health Hacks, and you get taught actual about health diseases, and that is taught by our medical school students, as well as students from our PA program. Anybody know what a PA is? What's a PA? Yes, it is a physician's assistant. And so PA school is very similar to medical school, and so those are the students who teach you about a variety of diseases. And then we also have a program specifically for women interested in orthopedics. So we have a ton of programs. If you are interested in any of our programs, you can go to our website. Our office is the Office for Institutional Equity, and you can apply to any of our programs. We do go through applications, and then you get an interview, and then you get to spend time with us. We have students right in this room who have gone through all of our programs, and even we have students who go through our high school programs and then come back for undergrad. So anybody think they're gonna apply to any of our programs? All right, have a good day, guys.
All right, so let's get started again. It's gonna be videos. Can anyone give me a background? What do you know, what do you think of when you think of active shooter? Anyone? Yes? One more time, nice and loud for everyone. A drill. Have you done active shooter drills in school?
Yes.
Oh, show of hands. Yes, you've done drills. Raise your hands for active shooter in school. Okay. Quite a few of you. Raise your hands if you have never done an active shooter drill. Okay, so good. I'm glad you guys are here. So again, we're gonna start with a few videos. I need you guys to pay attention because we will be asking questions and you are going to be drilled. The things that you have in front of you right now, you don't need to worry about. Don't play with them. Just leave them on the side. You do have a table that lifts up right next to you. If you want to just lift that table and have it rested there. I don't want you distracted with what's in front of you. At this moment, you won't need it. All right, so let's get started.
We begin this half hour with breaking news in Knightdale. A man is in custody after police say he stabbed his coworker to death.
An ex-employee bent on revenge who returns to the workplace with an edged weapon.
A Las Cruces man is being charged with possession of an explosive device.
An extremist who places an explosive device in a place of worship.
New video shows the speed of the pickup truck that plowed into people. An unstable demonstrator who drives a vehicle into a crowd.
11:33 a.m. An 18-year-old with an AR-15 is in the school.
An active shooter who enters the school with a semi-automatic gun.
A little boy peers down the hallway, and moments later, the rapid fire bullets.
Acts of violence like these are happening more frequently in the United States and around the world.
Active violence can occur between people with a personal or professional relationship, against a specific group, between strangers, or as part of another crime. All too often, active violence events are also considered a mass attack, where 3 or more people are harmed.
Active violence is any event where a person actively attempts or is engaged in trying to kill or seriously hurt others in a populated area or confined location.
When active violence occurs, our instinctive reaction is often fear or panic. Our senses are overwhelmed and our brains struggle to process the danger, trauma, and loss. It can be difficult or scary to think about what you would do if you were in one of these situations. And we hope that you never need to use this training. Our goal with this course is to empower you with immediate and life-saving response techniques that can make a difference if you encounter active violence.
AVERT is active violence immediate response training. Developed with help from subject matter experts with emergency medical, law enforcement, and military training. This course is designed to prepare you with hands-on skills and effective behavior strategies to respond immediately in an active violence situation. Recognizing warning signs of potential violence can enable you to avert an emergency. Identifying ways to protect yourself during active violence can help prevent injury. And applying bleeding control techniques to yourself or someone nearby can improve the likelihood of survival if serious injury occurs.
These actions are planned to achieve a specific outcome, which is survival from active violence. Practicing these tactics can help you avoid danger and care for yourself and others if a serious violent event occurs. Because when active violence happens, the toll it takes afterward is huge.
Companies or corporate organizations experience significant fallout, like traumatized employees and financial loss from suspended operations or brand damage. Schools and colleges often cannot resume education as students, faculty, and staff face the emotional and physical pain of injury, safety and security, and loss. Places of worship or venues can struggle to recover an atmosphere of welcomeness or gather large groups in the wake of active violence. Healthcare entities or government operations can become the target of lawsuits or be forced to interrupt supportive services. And following every active violence incident, the emotional aftermath is substantial for those directly affected and the broader community.
It is not unusual to suffer from PTSD, depression, or anxiety after a violent event. People who experience this trauma often require considerable mental health support and time for recovery, which can be prolonged by events like legal proceedings, memorial services, or rebuilding. With AVERT, you can prepare to respond to active violence.
Anyone can take this training and participate actively. Class exercises involve hands-on practice and moving around, but this is mild activity. Be careful not to hurt yourself or others. It's okay to modify the activity to keep yourself safe from injury, so talk to your AVERT instructor if you have any concerns. Communicate clearly with other participants during activities and participate at a level that won't injure anyone.
AVERT classroom activities involve only weapon replicas. These training tools do not contain any projectiles like bullets or sharp edges. During your course, you will hear sounds of gunshots and other loud noises. Video footage and audio also contain content that you may consider graphic or distressing. These elements are not intended to scare you. AVERT is designed to prepare you to better recognize active violence by sound and sight, so you can learn to respond with quick action to protect yourself and others. If you feel AVERT will be more distressing than helpful to you, talk with your AVERT instructor after this lesson.
Finally, and this is the most important, real weapons are strictly prohibited during this training. Even if you are licensed or qualified to carry one, no real weapons are allowed, regardless of whether it's empty of bullets, the blade is covered, or it could be concealed. The goal of AVERT is to keep you safe, and that starts right here in this classroom.
Following this lesson, your AVERT instructor will provide you with a quick break. During that time, any real weapon must be secured before continuing with training. Talk with your AVERT instructor if you have any other questions or concerns about your participation in AVERT.
The threat of active violence is more prevalent in our society than ever. It's our hope that when you leave this classroom today, that you have a greater understanding of the threat that exists, and if violence happens where you are, that you are prepared to respond immediately.
So really quick before we get started, there are going to be times where I'm going to ask you questions. Just you'll raise your hand, and then Carlos or Clarence or someone else in here will pass you a mic. Just give them a second to give you the mic just so that everyone can hear. Okay? Any concerns or comments or thoughts before we get started? It's pretty straightforward, right? And as a reminder, you are going to walk away with a certificate with your name on it, saying that you attended here today, and we will be doing a raffle at the end to possibly give you either a Stop the Bleed kit, or you're going to have a choice to pick between that or an emergency go bag. All right? All right, let's get started.
Dangerous situations can arise at work, at home, during your commute, or even on vacation. But regardless of the type of organization, event, or location, you can prepare for an active violence event.
So sometimes these things challenge me. What the hell was that? There's more people. On right? Yeah, there's more people. Yes.
Every organization should have an up-to-date emergency action plan, or EAP, that describes what actions people should take if an emergency occurs. To prepare for any emergency, and in some cases meet regulatory requirements, it is always recommended that an organization provide CPR, AED, and first aid training with standard bleeding control for anyone who gathers there. Other steps like implementing an incident command structure, an emergency response team, or ERT, and improving emergency communication systems may also help to mitigate damage if active violence occurs. An active shooter or active violence policy outlines the procedures and actions that people should follow when violence is in progress. AVERT is one part of the preparation, tools, and training that an active violence or emergency action plan includes. Another strategy to avert potential violence is de-escalation. De-escalation is used during an escalating conflict to prevent physical violence. De-escalation training can empower you to recognize when conflict is growing in intensity and how to respond to keep the situation from getting worse.
Oh my God.
Help! Help!
Many people worry about rendering aid to someone who is injured and what the legal consequences might be. Good Samaritan laws offer legal protection to people who give reasonable assistance to those who are, or who they believe to be, injured, ill, in peril, or otherwise incapacitated.
We have a lot. We have a lot. To help you? Yes, boss. What's the question?
This protection is intended to reduce bystanders' hesitation to assist for fear of being sued or prosecuted for unintentional injury or wrongful death.
Stay with me.
The details of Good Samaritan laws vary by jurisdiction, including who is protected from liability and under what circumstances. So become familiar with the laws in the states where you live, work, and travel. If you decide to help someone in a bleeding emergency, it's important that you still take steps to protect yourself. Prior to helping anyone, first make sure the scene is safe. You don't want to become another victim or patient who needs care. Your own safety is top priority.
Okay, the scene's safe. You go with him or
To
we'll...
protect yourself from bloodborne pathogens, which can cause diseases like hepatitis and HIV, use personal protective equipment, or PPE. Gloves and a barrier mask are always recommended when rendering aid to someone. If you have these nearby, take a moment before helping someone to protect yourself to avoid unnecessary exposure to potential disease. By preparing in advance and protecting ourselves, we can make our workplaces and communities safer.
So you guys heard that it is important to have an emergency action plan in your organization, right? So for you guys that go to school, I guarantee that your school has an emergency action plan as well. What about for our homes? Do you think we should have one for home as well? Yes. Correct, exactly. And why do you think it's important to check that the scene is safe before rendering aid to someone? Show of hands, and then someone will give you a mic. Give us 1 second. I want to make sure everyone hears.
Can you repeat the question again?
Why do you think you have to check that the scene is safe before helping someone?
So you should check that the scene is safe. Like, for example, if it's like an active shooter, I need to make sure that the shooter isn't like in range, so you're not putting yourself in danger, so you could help the person who's hurt.
Who needs help, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, you want to make sure that the scene is safe because the last thing you want is to put yourself in harm's way, right? So you have to, your safety is what's important first. So personal protective equipment, can someone tell me what this means? What would be one example of PPE? Yes, goggles as well. That is also. Obviously, if the situation, if you have these supplies, very good. If you don't, at a minimum, you should have gloves. But if it's yourself or a loved one, am I going to really care about gloves if I'm trying to save my mother, my father, my sibling? No, right? You're going to render help.
We've all had a minor injury that could be fixed with an adhesive bandage. But uncontrolled bleeding is a serious emergency. Blood loss is a leading cause of preventable death from trauma in the United States. Uncontrolled bleeding can quickly become life-threatening. Every second counts to improve the chance of survival. You could save a life, even your own, if you know how to control life-threatening bleeding and respond immediately. That's why we recommend having bleeding control supplies close and ready. As a reminder, before helping in a bleeding emergency, make sure the scene is safe. Ask if you can help.
Can I help you? Okay, keep pressure on that wound. We're gonna get you laid down here.
Look for the source of life-threatening bleeding. If found, call 911 to activate the emergency response system.
The time it takes for law enforcement and EMS providers to reach the scene of an emergency will vary. The amount of time depends on the number of calls they're managing, where you are, and the size of the population or area they serve. At events where police officers are involved, EMS providers are usually not allowed to enter the scene to begin emergency medical care until law enforcement determine the site is safe. During an active violence incident, the first action for law enforcement is to locate the threat and stop it. Officers will then work to secure the scene and search for any other suspects, explosive devices, or similar hazards. In most cases, EMS providers will only be allowed to reach the wounded after these threats are contained. This means that medical care can be significantly delayed for someone who is on scene and injured.
As an immediate responder, you can make a difference in someone's survival following a violent encounter. To learn how to stop bleeding effectively, it helps to understand how blood flows through the human body. Let's break down some basics of anatomy. The heart lies in the middle of the chest, slightly to the left. The heart's job is to pump blood all around the body through our arteries. The arteries are like hoses coming off the heart. The heart forces blood through these tubes under pressure, your blood pressure, so that blood can travel to every end of your body. How much blood is in the body? An adult weighing 150 pounds has about 10 pints of blood. For reference, when you donate blood, you're donating only about 1 pint of blood. There are areas in the body where these arteries are close to the surface and more vulnerable, like the neck, under the arms, and in the groin. Injuries to these areas are very severe and must be treated quickly. In cases of severe injury, a person can bleed to death in as quickly as 5 minutes. A person can still survive after losing about 40% of their blood volume, but stopping the bleeding in those first minutes is critical. Bleeding from an artery is usually bright red blood that spurts from a wound. Other signs of external life-threatening bleeding include blood that won't stop coming out of a wound, bleeding in a person who is confused, disoriented, or unconscious, and blood pooling on the ground. Soaked clothing or bandages, or loss of a limb are other signs of life-threatening bleeding. Bleeding can occur on arms or legs, at torso junctional spots, on the torso, or on the head. Once we have identified life-threatening bleeding, we need to apply methods of compression to stop the bleeding. We can do that with direct pressure, packing the wound, or a tourniquet.
Again, think about the fact that law enforcement and EMS response time can be extended in an active violence event.
Stopping life-threatening bleeding during those minutes can make a difference in the person's chance of survival.
So, we heard in the last video that first you have to check that the scene is safe, correct? So we go to the person, we approach them, we see them bleeding. Do we just start touching them and working on them? What do? Yes?
Hold on. What there?
You ask the person if you can help.
Yes, you want to ask them if you can help them or even tell them. My name is Jennifer, I see you're hurt. I'm going to help you. Because why? One of the signs of life-threatening bleeding is they might be what? Disoriented or confused. So they may become combative with you. Hence, now you might be in danger, right? So what is another sign of life-threatening bleeding?
They lost their limb.
Loss of limb. Another sign. I'll let you guys pick. Another sign. We have loss of limb, confusion. Another one.
They're bleeding quickly.
Severe bleeding nonstop. Right? What about another? What's another sign?
Yes, right.
Light blood, like bright red.
Bright red. Anything back? I up. Something else you want to add? Bright red, right? So, bright red, pulling, soaking through clothing, right? Obviously, loss of a limb. And there are areas in the body that are much more dangerous to bleed from, right? What did she say? How many minutes can someone bleed out? You can scream it all out. 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes in an emergency seems like a very long time. So anything beyond that can now be life-threatening.
Direct pressure is a bleeding control method that can be applied anywhere on the body. If the person has more than one bleeding injury, first care for the wound that has signs of life-threatening bleeding. Start bleeding control with direct pressure.
I got it.
To apply direct pressure, quickly find the source of the bleeding. Open, lift away, or remove clothing covering the wound so you can clearly see it. Apply firm, direct pressure on the wound with sterile gauze if available. If these are not available, use a gloved hand or any clean, absorbent material available. Use the heel of one hand with the other hand stacked on top of the first,
Clearly says.
or use the pads of 3 fingers of each hand stacked on top of each other. Push down hard onto the wound. Use continuous pressure. If blood soaks through the pad, leave it in place. Press harder. Don't remove pressure or add more gauze, and don't remove blood-soaked materials. Keep pressing hard until the bleeding stops. A tourniquet is applied to an arm or a leg. Someone takes over for you, or the scene becomes unsafe. If available, wrap an elastic or self-adhesive roller bandage firmly over the gauze or other material to help maintain pressure. It may be difficult to control bleeding with direct pressure. You may need to pack a dressing tightly into the wound to maintain pressure. Open, lift away, or remove clothing covering the wound so you can clearly see it. With fingertips of one hand in the wound, direct your pressure toward the bleeding vessel. Use the other hand, pack gauze into the wound, pressing it into place on the point of bleeding. Continue pushing in gauze and pressing firmly on top of the bleeding site until the wound is packed and no more gauze goes in. Use direct manual pressure on the wound with sterile gauze if available, or use gloved hands or any clean material available. Push hard using the heel of one hand with the other hand stacked on top of the first, or use the pads of 3 fingers of each hand stacked on top of each other. Don't remove pressure to add more gauze, and don't remove blood-soaked materials. Keep pressing hard until the bleeding stops, someone takes over for you, or the scene becomes unsafe. Any materials that are put inside to pack a wound need to stay inside the wound. Do not remove any cloth, gauze, or other materials once they have been placed inside. Become familiar with the materials in your bleeding control kit and how to use them. Some bleeding control products contain ingredients that can speed up bleeding control. However, these may also have an expiration date because of these ingredients. Check your kit regularly to replace expired items. Now, it's your turn to practice direct pressure and wound packing skills, following the guidance of your AVERT instructor.
All right, so before we get started on the practical piece and show you how to wound pack, what happens if you haven't purchased your own bleeding control kit, which I hope after today, everyone will have one. What can you use if you don't have gauze?
You can use gloves.
Gloves to wound pack? Think about that again. So if I don't have a gauze, what else could you use? Not gloves.
Any material that could absorb the bleeding.
Yes, anything that can absorb. Can we be specific? Anyone on this side?
You could use a shirt or like anything that's like on your body.
Yes, you can rip up a piece of your shirt. What about a sock? Can I use a sock? What about pages out of a book? What if you have a notebook and you only have a book? Can I rip pages out of that and use that? So you can use almost anything to wound pack. If you don't have gauze, you have to use something. You may or may not give the person an infection. That's totally fine, because what's your goal? To stop the bleed, right? Your goal is to stop that bleeding, control that bleeding, and save their life. They can deal with antibiotics once they get to the hospital. If it's your loved one, you're not gonna stop from saving them just because you don't have gauze. Perfect. So, and in front of you, you have gauze and you have a styrofoam. Look for the opening on the styrofoam. It's a slit on the side. My instructors, if you can go around and make sure that everyone's doing it properly, show me how you would wound pack. Remember, they said with one hand, you're going to search for the point of bleeding, and with the other hand, you're gonna keep continuous packing, right? So one hand holds pressure on that vessel. The other hand will be continuously packing that wound. It's okay if it's hard to get in there. It's going to hurt. It's going to be tight, but your goal is to pack that wound. So find that opening. There is a table in front of you if you need a table. Practice with a neighbor if you want to as well. Once I put something in it, can I take it out? No. It has to stay inside at all times. You cannot remove it. You did it?
So,
were you here last year?
You want to keep the.
Familiar.
So you want to keep that, like your finger in there, and then with the other hand, with the gauze. Yeah.
So with one hand, you have to make sure you stay inside, and the other one you keep packing.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Very good. Yes. 2 fingers are always better than one, all right? When you're continuously pressure. And the person may have more than one source of bleeding. If that is the case, what do? Which one do you attend to first? Yeah, you can, if you're allowed, you have to say it, yeah.
The one that's more like the
Yes, did everyone hear that? The one that is exhibiting signs of more life-threatening bleeding, it's the one that you want to help first. All right, did everyone do the wound packing? Any questions before we move on to tourniquets? All right, don't open the tourniquets yet until the end of this video.
A tourniquet is a tight, wide band placed around an arm or a leg and tightened to compress blood vessels and stop external bleeding.
You may have heard that applying a tourniquet could save a person's life, but that their limb will have to be amputated.
But tourniquets can be safe and effective if you act quickly to apply them correctly and the person receives appropriate attention soon.
Using a tourniquet instead of direct pressure may allow the injured person to move to safety while violence is in progress. If a person has life-threatening bleeding on an arm or leg and a tourniquet is available, use the tourniquet. A correctly applied tourniquet can be quite painful, but a loose tourniquet won't adequately stop bleeding.
A commercial or manufactured tourniquet, if available, is an effective way to control life-threatening bleeding on a limb. The tourniquet type we use is the Combat Application Tourniquet, or CAT. This tourniquet is approved for use by the United States military and is a preferred choice for many first responders. The CAT is very effective, easy to use, and can be applied with only one hand.
The instructions in this training are specific to CAT, but the best tourniquet is the one you're comfortable using. Become familiar with the type in your bleeding control kit. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for correct application.
This tourniquet has a belt with a high visibility tab, a windlass rod, a windlass clip, and a windlass strap with a time tab. To use a tourniquet, first find the source of bleeding. Open, lift away, or remove clothing covering the wound so you can see clearly. Remove any objects that might interfere with the tourniquet, like keys, wallet, cell phone, etc. A tourniquet may be applied over bare skin or clothing. To apply a tourniquet, loop the belt around the injured arm or leg. If necessary, unfasten the belt, wrap it around the limb, and refasten it by pulling the free end of the tourniquet strap through the buckle. During an active violence event, you may need to apply a tourniquet very quickly because the threat of danger is still close by. If you can see the source of bleeding, place the tourniquet about 2 to 3 inches above the injury site, closer to the body core. If you cannot identify the source of bleeding, place the tourniquet between the wound and the torso, high and tight, near the armpit or groin. This is because the arteries are closer to the surface in these junctional locations on the body and can be targeted to cut off the blood supply. Do not place the tourniquet over the wound or over a joint. Pull the strap tight around the limb and fasten the belt to itself. Tell the person to expect pain. It is necessary to stop life-threatening bleeding. Turn the windlass, rod, or knob either direction and keep turning until bleeding stops. Secure the windlass or rod to the tourniquet so that it does not untwist. If one tourniquet does not stop the bleeding, you can apply a second tourniquet on that arm or leg above the first tourniquet, still avoiding joints like elbows or knees. Offset the windlass placement of a second tourniquet so it can turn without getting snagged on the first. Once a tourniquet has been placed on an arm or leg, it should never be loosened or adjusted. Write the time that the tourniquet was applied. Some tourniquets have a white space on the strap where you can record the time. If not, mark the time on the injured person in a noticeable spot.
Tourniquets save lives. The early minutes of wound care can mean the difference between life and death. See in this clip how quickly an injury can result in life-threatening bleeding. This footage contains content you may find distressing, but this person survives.
Heads up, guys. He looks like he's getting down. He's under the floorboard, guys. Under the floorboard. Be careful. Be careful. Under the floorboard, guys. Watch, he's taking up a defensive position, guys. Shots fired. Shots fired. Troop down. Troop down. Let's get EMS and route. Troops down. Got a hit, guys. Troops down. It's gonna be a small caliber weapon. Small caliber weapon. Either 9mm, something like that, to EMS. And he shot hit the right arm. 107, you got a ETA on EMS?
107, standby, we'll give ETA.
Think about how quickly that happened. Did he have much time to wait for help? If a tourniquet is not available, you can use the principles of direct pressure and wound packing to control bleeding.
Again, tourniquets can only be applied to arms and legs. They never go on the torso, neck, or head. During this practice, you'll be using a training tourniquet, which should be used only for practice. The tourniquets in your bleeding control kit should not be used for practice. Those are only one-time use in an emergency.
It is not recommended for anyone with certain conditions to have a tourniquet placed on their body. Work with your AVERT instructor to modify this practice if need be.
So before we start using a tourniquet, I wanted to mention something about wound packing really quick that they don't mention on the video. Can anyone guess the part on the body? There's two areas on the body that should never get wound packed. I heard neck. Raise your hand. Who said neck? Someone said neck. Well, that's right. So one part is the neck. What about the other part? Huh? Yes, your chest, right? So those are the two areas that should never be wound packed. Why? Because you would actually be doing the opposite effect. If you wound pack their neck, you're gonna cut away their airway. So neck and chest just gets a surface pressure, right? So you have an item, gauze, your shirt, anything you can, and you just remain with the pressure on top. Never wound packing. Very good. So take the tourniquet, open it up. If you are able to do it on yourself, let's do our left arm first. If not, you can take the styrofoam and use that as a limb, and you can do it on the styrofoam. It is intended to be able to do it with one hand. After you do it on yourself, do it on your neighbor, and vice versa. We need to practice how to use a tourniquet. Again, I'll ask my instructors to go around and make sure that everyone's doing it properly. Need help? So I'm going to put my arm in. I'm going to tighten it this part. I'm going to take the windlass and I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to clip it in here. Okay? It doesn't matter what side you clip it in. Okay? There you go. And then you put the tap, right? What did they say to do to mark on the person? If you don't have a pen, it's an emergency, you're not going to look for a pen. Take the person's blood and you put a T on their forehead. Why is this important? So that when they get to the hospital, medical personnel know that this person has a tourniquet somewhere on their body. That's perfect. In the real world, well, that's pretty tight. Good. The tighter, the better, right? It's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you want to tighten that seal to stop the bleeding. Tourniquets never go on joints. So if it's on your elbow, if it's on your knee, it's incorrect. It should be a few inches above the wound. The closer to the body core, the better. So if you're injured in your arm, you want it up high by your armpit. If it's the leg, you want it close to your groin. That is where you're going to have that tight seal. Can I put a tourniquet on my neck? Yeah. Can I put a tourniquet on my stomach? Never. Only on the limbs, arms and legs. Very good. So if some of you are wondering what to do with that excess belt that's loose, that's completely fine. It's just for sizing. So the bigger the person, the more they'll need. The rest of it can hang. The most important part of a tourniquet is what? Can anyone tell me what the most important part of the tourniquet is? Back there? Yeah? No? The windlass. That rod that you're turning is the most important part of the tourniquet because that's what's going to create the tight seal. And that's what's going to make sure that the bleeding gets controlled. Let me see on this side. They need help? Okay, so let me do it on myself first, and you'll see. I'm going to put my arm through. This part gets tightened here. You wrap it here, and this part can stay loose, right? Then we're going to turn. We're going to turn and turn, and then it's going to go in here, right? It can go on either side. It can clip here or it can clip down here. All depends where it lands, right? So it's going to hurt. You want to make it nice and tight. Yep. Actually, no, you have to make sure that that's here. Okay. And then you clip it in. You see it's in. If you notice, you see my hand? My hand's already turning purple. It's losing. That's because it's tight, and that's what you want. So you don't want it by your wrist, okay? Just make sure it's away from the elbow, okay? Has anyone ever used a tourniquet before? Raise your hand. Yes? In a training? Where? When have you used a tourniquet before? Training. Very good. What if you don't have a tourniquet on you? What if you haven't bought these supplies? What do you use? So I would say wound pack and a belt, right? Because the belt, unlike the movies that they show you, the belt doesn't have something that the tourniquet does, which is what? The windlass, right? So it's not gonna be that tight. However, if it's all you have, I would do a belt and I would wound pack. I would do them both. Questions before we move on? Okay, leave the tourniquet in front of you. You're gonna be tested. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see if you're paying attention.
If a situation arises where you are an immediate responder to someone who is bleeding severely or you are wounded, you now have life-saving skills you can use right away. But to be most effective, you must have bleeding control supplies close at hand when an emergency occurs. Just as cardiac arrest outcomes can improve with widespread CPR training and ready availability of AEDs, the American College of Surgeons Committee on Trauma believes that bleeding control equipment should be readily available in public and private locations for rapid access. At a minimum, your bleeding control kit should include gloves, gauze, and a tourniquet. Your state or facility may have policies and regulations requiring other items to be included in a bleeding control kit. A bleeding control kit is different from a first aid kit, which includes items to manage illness or other types of injury. But in a bleeding emergency, having a separate bleeding control kit with a few essential items may make it easier for you to locate what you need quickly. HSI makes it easy to prepare yourself with a TAC pack, a bleeding control kit that includes the essential items to control life-threatening bleeding. But any bleeding control kit can work, so long as the items within it come from a reputable source. A bleeding control kit should be a standard item at any emergency response station near the AED and fire extinguisher. A standard wall mount unit can fit 6 TAC packs or similar bleeding control kits. Keep a bleeding control kit available in a 3-minute round-trip response time throughout a facility. Ideally, anyone outside that 3-minute response zone would be equipped with an individual bleeding control kit that still meets essential needs. Nothing in a TAC pack will expire or cause allergic reaction, so it's easy for you to outfit your home, vehicle, place of business, school, or place of worship. For other bleeding control kits, be aware that you may need to replace any items that expire. These recommendations extend to any type of event or activity. In a bleeding emergency, seconds matter. Being prepared with a bleeding control kit can save a life.
So, what are some items that should go in your bleeding control kit? You can scream out loud. What's one? Gloves. Another one. Gauze. Another one. Tourniquet, yes. So those are the basic items. You know, you have a lot of ones that are fancy. You have the CPR barrier for your mouth. Some of them even have the warming blankets. But at a minimum, your bleeding control kit should have these, right? The gloves, the gauze, and the tourniquet. And where should you keep them? Should you buy them and just forget where they are? Yes, did we hear what she said? House, your car. Right, if you have a fire extinguisher, close to your fire extinguisher, close to your medical supplies. You want to know where it is at all times. What about carrying one with you at all times? Do you think that's a good idea? Yes, you want to be prepared because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? I heard a question. Someone have a question? No? Okay. All right, remember, I told you you're going to be tested on the tourniquet, so have it in front of you. You should not have it on you. Please, if it's on you still, remove it and put it in front of you.
During this portion of training, have your practice tourniquet ready. At various times, you'll hear a simulated sound of a gunshot. This is a signal for you to start a hands-on practice applying the tourniquet. Follow the directions on the presentation screen.
It was just after 7:30 this morning, north of Los Angeles, when police cruisers and ambulances went screaming through another suburban neighborhood. Authorities say a 16-year-old walked into Saugus High School in Santa Clarita carrying a backpack and opened fire.
We've got an active shooter at Saugus High School. We need all units to respond.
For many people, it's uncomfortable to talk about active violence and mass attacks. It can be even more distressing to see or hear them. But there are people who choose to use weapons with the intent to hurt or kill others. Learning what active violence looks and sounds like and where it occurs can help you more rapidly assess if active violence is unfolding.
We could see the panic from a distance. Frightening, familiar.
Reports are just coming in, but we don't have a lot of information.
We did not yet know the who, but collectively the nation, all of us fear the what.
There's an active shooter situation in South Florida.
Holy oh my God! That rapid roar of death and dying in another American school.
We don't know if we're in the building.
The sight and sound of an active violence event can be extremely disorienting. Listen to the following and see if you can identify what you hear. Unless you're familiar with those sounds, your initial reaction when you hear something similar may be surprise or confusion. This can slow your reaction time. Take a look at this footage and pay attention to the reactions of the people.
We're gonna get trampled if we don't go.
You can see the initial reactions vary a lot. Some people don't respond initially, while others run aimlessly, maybe in the direction of the shooter. Attacks like this can and do happen at a lot of familiar places, like places of business, open spaces or parks, schools, on transportation, and in houses of worship. The media may highlight events that happen in schools or churches, but businesses open to pedestrian traffic are where the majority of these incidents occur.
One person died and 5 others were injured.
FBI data shows that individuals from nearly every age group and demographic have engaged in an act of violence. Active shooter incidents are overwhelmingly carried out by just one individual. And most active shooter events are over in less than 15 minutes. We can prepare to react more quickly by acknowledging that active violence can happen anywhere, by anyone.
Oh, you guys are gonna survive or no? Left arm. Remember that windlass has to be tight. That has to be wrapped around properly. 4, 3, 2, 1. Any survivors? Very good. Very good. So, I want to tell you guys something that's very interesting. You probably are the fastest class we've had react on the first go around, right, Clarence? You should give yourself a round of applause because you were even quicker than the adults that we do this training for. Usually on the first go around, nobody moves. Everyone stares at each other. Everyone stays silent, but you guys reacted pretty quickly, and I want to tell you that's very impressive. most of the time it is normal for you to freeze. Why do we freeze? Because our brain does not know how to deal with uncomfortable situations. If you are not a police officer, if you are not a person that constantly trains with firearms and these noises and these situations, your first instinct is going to be to freeze. It's 5 different phases. The first phase is called denial. That means that I am approaching you with a weapon and you're telling yourself, this isn't happening, I'm not seeing this, no, it's not happening. That's normal for people that are not used to these trainings. What we intend after today is that if something happens where you are on the train, you are at the mall, you're out with your friends, and an active violence situation occurs, we want to make you more aware so that those 30 seconds you probably froze are now 5. Why? Because you are telling yourself every day before you leave the house, today may be the day that I encounter an act of violence. It is not to walk around with anxiety. It is not for you to be scared. It is for you to be prepared so that that moment that if that happens, you have been to trainings. You know what to do. You know to find cover. You know how to save yourself. So that's really what it is. It's like when you find a job, right? When you get a job or you go to some sort of internship, they're going to train you. There are people that have been doing their job for 20 years and they can do it with their eyes closed. Preparing for emergencies is just the same way. The more you practice this, the more you prepare, the quicker your response is going to be to react to any of these situations. So again, I'm very impressed with how quick that was. Don't put it away, but take it off of you, please, and leave it right in front of you. Any questions or comments so far? Okay.
Some of you may use weapons for hunting, recreational purposes, or even carry one for personal self-defense. Some of you may have never held a weapon in your life. This section about weapons is simply meant to educate you on how to recognize them so you can better protect yourself during an active violence situation.
Because no matter what your experience with weapons, it's important to understand their capabilities and the harm they can do in the wrong hands. Violent events, especially mass attacks, can involve many types of weapons. For this training, we focus on weapons commonly used by active shooters, like long guns and handguns. Explosive devices or an edged weapon like a knife can also be carried by a person intent on active violence.
This is an example of a long gun or an AR-style rifle. A weapon like this is capable of accurately penetrating objects 300 to 500 yards away, or the length of several football fields. Ammunition fired from this powerful weapon can rip through walls, furniture, or the human body. And accuracy can be learned with very little practice or effort. The AR-style rifle is relatively inexpensive, with typical base price of the weapon between $500 and $1,000. With attachable accessories, the AR-style rifle can be even more accurate, carry even more bullets with high-capacity magazines, and become even more concealable with shorter barrels and buttstocks. This means a weapon can be hidden under a jacket or strapped to the back under a shirt. The AR style is semi-automatic, meaning one bullet fires for every trigger pull. But it can be converted with accessories to fire multiple bullets with a single trigger pull.
This is not an automatic weapon, but it's been modified to shoot like one.
These characteristics make the AR-style rifle a lethal weapon in the hands of an active shooter, but it's not the only weapon that we need to be aware of.
A pistol or a handgun is a smaller firearm that is typically even less expensive than a rifle. Handguns commonly carry 6 to 15 bullets and can be modified to allow for more capacity. Accuracy with a handgun is more limited to the training of the person using it. Handguns can be easily concealed in clothing, pant legs, or waistbands. Edged weapons like knives, box cutters, or even scissors can be deadly at close range. A person has to be close to another person to cause harm with an edged weapon, but it is very easy to conceal and can hurt many people in a small amount of time.
Some perpetrators of active violence carry more than one weapon, so be aware that an attacker could have a second weapon or device concealed.
Other weapons can pose a significant threat to many people at once, like an improvised explosive device, or IED. These may combine household items or hardware with combustible material and can vary in size and design. And even a vehicle can be a weapon if it is used to ram into a crowd or building.
Being able to recognize the potential harm weapons can cause may help you assess how to stay safe if active violence occurs.
Very good. Good. Okay. Stick it into one of the sides. Stick it in, That's what's gonna hold it. Wow, that was impressive. Push it in. It's good? Very good. Wow. Very good. So, I'm very curious to know, we know what our right leg is, right? Some of you have it on your arm. It should be on the right leg. But I'm sure in a situation, a real situation, you would know where to do it. Let me see. Can my instructors go around and make sure that everyone has it correctly on their right leg and properly placed? It should not be close to the knee. So, aside from a gun, what else can be used as a weapon? A knife. Anything else? Yes, a knife. Yes. What? Scissors. A what? A vehicle? Yes, of course, a vehicle can be used as a weapon. An IED, yes. A box cutter. Yes, so ultimately anything can be a weapon. You have to be aware of your surroundings at all times because anything can be used as a weapon this day and age. Did you guys see how inexpensive it is to buy a weapon? It's not that expensive. It's very scary, and if it's a rifle, you don't need to practice that much for accuracy, especially if it's an automated weapon. Can someone tell me the difference? Raise your hand. What is a semi-automatic weapon? Yes, did everyone hear him? 1 bullet per trigger. Automatic means what? Multiple in the single pull of a trigger. So those are very dangerous, and you don't need that much training for that. A handheld weapon, which is the smaller gun, the pistol, that one you need a little more training for accuracy, but it can still be just as dangerous. And most oftentimes, data shows that an active shooter will have both weapons, an AR-style rifle and a handgun. Make sure you take off your tourniquet and leave it in front of you, please. And that was excellent.
Tonight, a manhunt is underway for suspects involved in a deadly mass shooting overnight in New Mexico.
The horror beginning just before 7 p.m. last night, calls to 911 reporting an active shooter at the bowling alley here.
The funerals in Buffalo aren't even over yet, and tonight the families of elementary school children and teachers in Texas are faced with the unthinkable.
Many of us have seen stories of active violence in the news or our media feed.
When faced with a stream of tragedies, it may feel like nothing can be done to predict or prevent these events.
But active violence events are often the result of weeks or months of behavioral changes and planning. According to FBI data, the majority of active shooter events are planned and signaled in advance.
The Columbine shooters started planning their shooting spree a year in advance as an act of revenge against other students and teachers who they'd felt had wronged them. The Las Vegas shooter, the deadliest mass shooter in American history, had a year-long buying spree of firearms and ammunition. He carefully researched police tactics and response, and he scoped out the area multiple times to figure out how to inflict the most damage. The Buffalo shooter's ideas and methods were nurtured through toxic online communities. He wrote down detailed notes and plans for months on Discord, and sections of his manifesto were directly lifted from the Christchurch shooter's writings.
Before active violence occurs, there are observable behaviors that can forecast a person's intent to do harm if you know what to look for. A person who may be thinking of active violence might share alarming content on social media or in messages. They may display escalating anger, aggressive behavior, or make threats with intent to harm someone.
I'm going to be the next school shooter of 2018. My goal is at least 20 people with an AR-15 and a couple trace rounds.
Fascination with weapons, violence, or the perpetrators of active violence can be a warning sign. A person may make persistent complaints that they have been wronged or treated unfairly by someone. Changes in appearance and behavior, especially behavior that involves stalking or harassing others, are signals to watch for.
Other things that should raise your awareness are changes in mood or mental health, increased depression or negative outlook, erratic behavior, or acting paranoid. Declining performance at work or school may also be a warning sign. While any of these characteristics on their own may not indicate someone is planning active violence, when someone is exhibiting several of these, it's time to recognize the signs and do something.
One FBI study of pre-attack behavior found that on average, active shooters displayed a handful of concerning behaviors prior to committing active violence. And for every active shooter, at least one person noticed a warning sign prior to the violent event. So if you see something, say something.
If someone at work is acting suspicious or out of the ordinary, talk to human resources. At school or at your place of worship, talk to somebody in a leadership role. You can always contact law enforcement initially or in addition to notifying HR or leaders. It's better to report what you're noticing than to wait for these behaviors to escalate to active violence. You can adopt a mindset to pay attention to warning signs and trust your gut to report what you notice.
This is called situational awareness. It means being attentive of one's surroundings, forecasting possible danger, and being ready to act.
Practicing situational awareness can give you an advantage should a dangerous situation happen.
Being situationally aware is more of a way of thinking than a specific set of steps. It means identifying possible threats and considering how you would react to avoid harm.
We all sometimes have that feeling that something isn't right. This is your instinct. Part of being situationally aware means that you don't disregard that feeling. Talking yourself out of reporting something because you don't want to be wrong about someone can turn into a missed opportunity to avert violence. We all have a responsibility for our own safety and the safety of those we care about.
So, follow your gut. Trust your intuition. Stay alert to suspicious actions no matter where you are or what you're doing. When walking to and from your car, what do you look at?
These days, many of us look at our phones. This leaves us vulnerable. Instead, maintain 360 degrees of awareness or everything completely surrounding you. Scan for possible risks to your personal safety. Limit distractions when moving from place to place. If carrying something, try to keep one hand free. Use well-lit routes. Lock doors whenever possible. Follow building security measures. Keep windows semi-covered if the location is highly visible or public. Take note of any suspicious activity at that time of day or place. Situate yourself where you can hear and see someone approaching. Build a habit of checking for more than one exit from wherever you are. And pay attention to sounds or smells you don't expect where you are. In any circumstance, stay attentive, anticipate possible threats, and have a plan of attack or escape should the danger develop.
Let's take some of the things we've talked about and see if you can apply them to this scenario.
How's this thing not working?
Look like you're struggling a little bit.
Yeah, these things seem to work when I need them to.
It's all right. Well, you should be pushing.
I was pushing this one. No?
Would you like me to show you?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to show you. It's going to be this one.
Oh, just that easy,
That
huh?
easy.
Seasoned professional.
You know? Next time you need me, you know where to find me.
Thank you.
Hey, will you hold the door? Okay.
Yeah, well, hey, have a good day as well. Hey. See you later.
Bye.
How things progress. Yeah. Mark, can I see you in my office, please? Hey, you get everything figured out?
Those things never seem to work when you actually need them to.
Okay, well, if you ever need any help, feel free to ask.
Anyways, what are you doing on tonight?
I'm not sure why.
I just want to see you go grab some drinks after work.
I actually just started seeing somebody.
No worries, I should have found out
Sorry.
prior. That's
Okay.
okay.
Man, get off me. I know how to get out.
What did you notice?
For many of us, we were caught up in the story and didn't notice the real warning signs. In fact, for the keen eye amongst you, you may have noticed the shooter in multiple clips up to this point.
On how things progress.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Mark, can I see you in my office, please? We've been consistently getting complaints about your. Yeah, consistently getting complaints. No, I do.
What was the point?
I don't need to explain myself.
I want you to explain yourself because I want to know what.
No.
Done.
You're
How are we
done.
done?
You're done. You're fired.
Fired?
You're done.
You're gonna fire me?
Hey, what are you talking about fire? I'm fine. I don't want to exercise, right?
Crap, man. Get off me. I know how to get out.
Situational awareness means paying attention to our surroundings, noticing unusual behavior, and alerting someone if we think something is suspicious.
So show of hands for those who noticed Mark doing this to the guys walking out. Most of you. That's good. Most of us were probably stuck on the cheesy love story that they posted there, and we thought that the shooter was going to be the guy that got turned down, right? But it wasn't the fact. It was actually Mark, and there were lots of clues that they gave us to tell us that Mark was probably going to be the person that did the violent act. And that's how life is, isn't it? Multiple things happening at the same time. Yes, right? You have to know where to put your focus and what deserves your attention. Most of the time, people are walking with their cell phones in their hands and texting and walking. You guys don't do that, right? I'm going to believe to think no. But listen, a real scenario happened a few months ago. Young girl walking on the sidewalk with her friends, all three of them texting and walking. They did not see that a guy was walking towards them holding a knife, and he was able to stab two of them. Do you think if they were walking without being in their cell phones, they probably would have seen this coming? Yeah, of course. On the train, How can we be more situationally aware on the train? We have a hand over here. How can you be more situationally aware on the train? Just 1 second.
Don't fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep. That's a good one.
Stay cautious about your environment. Like look at the train cars.
Looking at the train cars. What about where you sit? Clarence, there's one this side, please.
Be aware of who you sit next to.
Yes, be aware of who you're sitting next to and who sits next to you if they come on the train.
Also, sitting next to like the doors, and when you're standing on the platform, staying away from like the yellow line because someone might push you.
Yeah, so staying away from the platform and sitting closest to the door. You want to sit in a position at all times, whether it's on the train, whether you're walking, whether you're anywhere that you are where you can see everything that's around you. Unfortunately, we have to be more aware of what's in front of us, on the side of us, and behind us. Anything else? Right here. Yes, did everyone hear that? Can you repeat it for everyone, please?
Not sitting in the isolated or alone seats.
Yeah, so try to stay away from isolated areas, areas that are dark, not well lit. If you're walking in the street at nighttime, try to always remain in areas where the street lights are on. Anything else? Okay. So, just like our captain earlier mentioned, wherever you go, you need to be aware of your exits, right? Why is this important? Yes? Yeah, plain and simple. In case of an emergency, you need to be able to know where to go to at all times. When you are sitting in classrooms or in office spaces, it's also very important to know what doors swing inward and which ones are outward. Why this is important, you'll learn as we get through the modules, but this determines as well how you barricade or defend the room if you need to. What security measures are in place? When you walked in here today, did you guys all walk through the weapons detecting machine? Yes, that is how we keep our staff, our visitors, our patients safe. We have them at most of our entrances in the hospital. And what will you do first if active violence occurs? You don't have to answer that today, but that is a question that you should be asking yourself every single day. If something happens in this area, what am I going to do? And then going back to behaviors to look out for. Give me an example of a behavior to look out for that might forecast someone has intent to do harm. Yes. Yes, so what she said is that if you are on the train or someone is acting a little erratic, if they're not, they're behaving out of the norm, try to stay away from them. I've also seen situations where someone gets on the train and they look like they may be violent, they look like they want to be aggressive with people, and some leave the car and then some don't. Some freeze, and this happens to some people. So if you are with someone, or if you can, give that person a quick nudge. Hey, let's go, let's get out of here, because that's sometimes what people need. Some people freeze, but you guys are not going to freeze anymore after today's training, right? You're going to know what to do. Very good. Another behavior. What about in school? Yes? Outbursts, yes. Sudden outbursts can also be a potential of escalating to danger. Anything else?
And like anyone that has been wronged or is seeking for vengeance, I saw in the video that somebody was like sending a message about like potentially threatening another person.
Yeah, exactly. What about when Mark told the employer, this isn't over? Wouldn't that be an indicator that he might result in danger, in act of violence? Yeah, so if you see something or someone is acting out of the norm, listen, we all have bad days. We're all allowed to be grumpy once in a while. But if you notice someone that's just out of the norm, that it's just escalating more and more, speak to someone, to your educator, to your teacher, to law enforcement if you need to your parents. Always speak up. It's better to speak up and prevent things from happening rather than just turning a blind eye. Most of the time, situations can be stopped if people had spoken up about people's behaviors.
What is a natural response when someone sees a weapon or hears the sound of gunshots during an active violence event?
Take a look at this active shooter event and notice the different responses that individuals have in a high-stress situation. This footage is from a real event.
As you just saw, each person's instincts kicked in, but they responded differently. Their bodies react to protect themselves.
For some, the immediate reaction is to take flight or to get away quickly. In most circumstances, running away is the best option.
Some people may react instinctually to fight, especially if they are close to the attacker. It isn't a conscious decision. Fighting back seems like the best chance for survival.
The freeze response is also involuntary. A person becomes physically, emotionally, and mentally immobilized. A person who freezes isn't in control of their response. This deer in headlights reaction is our animal instinct to a threat, even as danger is approaching. With training, we can overcome that response.
Everyone reacts differently in these situations, and until you are in one, you don't know how you are going to respond. When violence occurs, we know that getting away from the danger improves the chances of survival.
We don't want anyone to freeze when an attack occurs.
If you stay in one spot, you make it easier for an assailant to find and hurt you. Your goal is to minimize an attacker's ability to see or hear you and others.
That means learning how to escape, evade, and attack. Every situation is different, and you will need to adapt to your circumstances when violence occurs. But practicing these skills can help you to react quickly wherever you are.
I thought it was over. See? Hopefully everyone knows their left from their right. 10 seconds. Very good. 9, 1. Did we survive? Very good. You guys thought it was over, but the bad guy's not going to call you to tell you he's on his way. So you have to stay ready. That was excellent. Very good. Did you guys notice the video, right? The shooter that walked in. Same scenario, all different responses. Do we want to freeze like the young lady did? Not only did she freeze, she kind of kept walking towards the danger, right? That's the animal instinct I told you about, the denial phase, right? That's completely normal for people that are uncomfortable in that situation. But we don't want to do that. What about the other gentleman that ran away? Immediately saw that, took a few seconds, and then ran. Is that what you want to do? Yes, if you are able to run in the opposite direction safely, that is exactly what you want to do. And then we had the other person that stepped into the situation and immediately took them down. Why? They probably thought that either they did that or they would die, right? So everyone's reaction is different. It all depends on how you react, but there are ways to survive these scenarios.
Got a gun! Take cover! Everybody take cover! He's got a gun!
If your instinctive response to a threat is to freeze, your goal is to break the freeze. Don't be an easy target. Motivate yourself to move with positive self-talk. Tell yourself, move. I can handle this. I will survive. Try taking a 4-second count to breathe in and a 5-second count to breathe out. Tactical breathing like this helps with calming yourself and making rational decisions. Move away from the sounds of danger. Try to escape to safety. If you see someone frozen in place, urgently instruct them to move. Give the person clear, simple instructions to evacuate. If necessary, strike them forcibly in the back to jumpstart their movement. Head for an exit, paying attention to the sounds and location of the attacker.
If you can, find cover. Cover protects you from bullets. Materials like steel, hardwood, or concrete are your best options for protection from bullets. Stay behind cover while shots are being fired. But when shooting stops, use that opportunity to move to cover further away from your attacker.
Active shooter! Active shooter! Active shooter! I'm your office! I'm your office!
If you can't find cover, use concealment as you move. Stay low to the ground and get behind things that make it harder to be seen. Do your best to get away from the threat. Moving in a zigzag or unpredictable way helps you avoid being spotted. Avoid moving in large groups if possible. Concealment includes objects that keep you from being seen by the attacker, like drywall, shrubs, car doors, or furniture. These materials may not stop a bullet, but they can hide you from the aggressor.
Consider, how would you escape or evade an attack from where you are?
Work with your AVERT instructor to assess cover and concealment at your location.
So before we do that, can someone tell me what cover is? They gave us cover and concealment. All in the back. So first, cover. What is cover?
A car, door, some furniture.
Elaborate more. Can someone else? The actual definition of cover.
Like you can hide behind a like a door so that they can't see you with the shoot. Exactly.
No.
Cover is an impenetrable object, for example, steel or hardwood, something that the bullets can't get through.
Yes. Did everyone hear that? So cover protects you from a bullet. Cover has objects. There are objects that would give you cover. Hardwood, steel, and one more. Scream it out loud. Concrete. Yes. So what you mentioned in the back is concealment. Concealment means not being seen or heard, right? So if the assailant can't get into that room, if they don't see you, if they don't hear you, most of the time they're going to just move on. Why? Because these incidents are normally over between 15 minutes or so, right? So they know they have to move on quickly. Very good. So in this room right here, what would be an object that provides cover? You, Milan. I heard someone
The
say a table. What table?
The desk.
What about this? Why? Because it's hardwood, right? So this object would probably provide cover. Everything else in here is most likely just concealment, right? You would have to find cover, concealment, try to not be heard, not be seen. We're all in here. The doors are to the back. Can we run to other doors in this room? Yeah, so we're in a good room. Do we have multiple exits? But if we're in a room that we cannot barricade in, we're gonna have to figure out how to do that, and we'll learn how to do that, because sometimes you might be in an open space where you can't lock yourself in a room, right? So what about when you go to the mall? Have you guys ever been to the mall, and if something was to happen, where do you think people run to first? Yeah, the main entrance that you walked into. But most people forget that every individual store has an exit because of the shipments that they get in. So if you're in a situation in a mall where an act of violence breaks out, don't be the person to run with the crowd and go towards the entrance that everyone's trying to get to. All the stores have exits as well. You have to be more conscious about that and just really think about where you're going to run, because you don't want to run into another situation or towards the danger, right? And most of the time, panic is contagious, right? So if you are that person that stays calm and you know how to react, you may have other people be calm as well. Don't get panicky. That also is contagious. What about this picture right here? What would be covered? An object that would be covered. Scream it out loud. Car. The car, maybe. So the car is tricky because the doors of the car and areas in the car won't provide cover. It would be more concealment, except for the front of the car. Why do you think the front of the car might provide more cover? The engine block, yes. So if you have to choose a car to provide cover, you might want to go there if possible, if you're able to. That's every situation, again, is very different. Anything else in this picture that can provide cover? The pillars, yes, they look like they're concrete, right? What about here? You're out in the mall. This looks like a mall, right? Can anything here provide cover? Escalators, right? Would I run into a store maybe to get concealment? Yes. Grocery store. Can anything be covered in a grocery store? It's very open, right? But you can probably use the aisles for concealment, but you have to be aware of where you're moving to, right? You want to stay low. You want to listen. You want to make sure that you're not running in the direction of the danger. What about the park? Can anything here be covered? The trees, the trunks, right? They look wide enough. They could probably help you cover until you're able to move again, right? How about here? That looks like a Starbucks, probably. Yeah, the counters probably, hopefully they're hardwood as well. They can provide cover. Knowing the exits at all times are also, it's also very important to know that. Open space, the pillars, right? What about the tables? No? Why not? Why can't we flip them and use them to conceal or cover if you have to? Yes, they'll probably see you, but you still need something to provide cover, right? Why will not? Let's throw some chairs. See, people forget that the active shooters are just as nervous. They don't know what they're walking into. They're not professional Navy SEALs coming in. Most of the time, they're not. It's just a random person with random skills as well, and they are just there to do harm. So they are going to thrive on the fact that you are scared, that you are fearful for your life because they're the ones holding the weapon. But you're not, right? You can be scared. Yes, that's completely normal. Even law enforcement, they're probably anxious as well when they're walking into a situation that they don't know what's going to happen. But you can survive, especially in a big group like this. Why not work together and start throwing objects? You have to use that fear and turn it into something that you can actually do. You can survive these situations, and most of the time they can, but unfortunately, the fear just hinders you. It makes you sit there, it makes you freeze, it doesn't let you think clearly, so these incidents result in these casualties. But those acts of violence, those active shooters, they're just human like you as well, and they are also scared. They don't know what's gonna happen when they walk into these rooms. Schools, please become familiar in your areas. Everywhere you walk through the hallways, look at areas, look at spaces, look at objects. If something happens right this second, where am I running to? What am I using to conceal myself or to cover? That's what you should be prepared for at all times. Lunchrooms as well. This looks like this room, right? You are going to learn how to defend this room at the end of this class.
Since there's an active shooter in the building. If you cannot escape, you may be forced to shelter in place. An attacker is going to be searching for people. If they don't hear or see you, or the room is difficult to access, then they are less likely to reach you. There are things you can do to shelter more effectively, but time is critical, so you will need to act quickly. Try to be invisible. Lock doors. Close shades or blinds on windows. For inward opening doors, place items directly against the door and under the handle to jam it to prevent the attacker from entering. Turn off lights. Get low in the corner of the room, preferably on the same wall as the entry door. If not already activated, call 911 to get help on the way, and if possible, don't hang up so the dispatcher can hear what's happening.
There's an active shooter in the workplace.
Stay completely silent until you are given specific directions from law enforcement.
I can hear it coming down.
If the attacker approaches, your only option may be to defend your location.
What's up? Got a text messages? Yeah, looks like something's happening. I don't know what's going on. Shooter. I don't know. Here. Yeah. Yep, that's.
It is possible that you will be in a location that is very challenging to defend from entry. You can still give yourself a tactical advantage by preparing to distract, attack, and disarm the assailant. In an active violence event, deciding to fight is a personal choice. Not everyone feels that they have the ability to fight, and that's okay. But we are going to provide you with some basic knowledge and skills about how to fight an attacker if this is your last option. Again, this training is designed to empower and prepare you.
Quick, there's no exit in this building. We gotta get this table set up.
For an outward swinging door, stack up furniture a reasonable distance away from the door. This won't stop the door from opening, but overturned and stacked tables or chairs aren't what people expect to see when they enter a room, so it may confuse the attacker. Gather objects like shoes, purses, backpacks, staplers, or anything else you can throw to distract the attacker. Position yourself against the wall on one or both sides of the door. In many rooms, this is the safest position because as the door opens, the attacker cannot immediately see you. Take a look from the assailant's perspective. Make sure you do not stand in front of the door. Notice how much this person is concealed along this wall until the attacker is entirely in the room. Anyone who isn't positioned at the entry point should prepare to throw things at the attacker as they enter the area. Work together to surprise the attacker. No matter whether it's a long gun or a handgun, try to control any weapon the assailant has. Many people think that the part of the firearm that causes the most damage is the trigger, but controlling the barrel of the gun means you can redirect the assailant's aim.
Attack the weapon by grabbing the barrel of the firearm with both hands, holding on tightly. Throw your full weight to the ground, taking the weapon down, and possibly the attacker with you. Even a very strong assailant will have trouble aiming or controlling the weapon if a person is hanging onto the barrel. Take care to make sure that the barrel isn't pointed at you. Use the leverage of the weapon to your advantage.
Attacking the senses causes pain and creates disorientation. Target the eyes and nose. Strike a person's nose with an open palm or push a finger into their eye. This is likely to get an immediate, painful distraction, which may loosen their grip on the firearm.
Consider scratching or biting the person's face or the hands holding the weapon. Immediate shock and intense pain are the objectives when attacking the assailant. Your goal is to buy yourself seconds by disabling the attacker's ability to see and breathe. It sounds extreme, but active violence is not an ordinary circumstance.
If possible, and pile on to attack the assailant and take control of the weapons.
Do what you can to survive.
Now, plan and practice how to shelter and attack with your avert instructor.
So I just want to reiterate and make completely clear to everyone that we are not encouraging you to fight back in the first go around, right? We want to learn how to hide, conceal, run if you can, right? That's what you want to do first. This is just if you are in a room where you can't barricade yourself in there and you are fighting for your life. This is what this is, right? It's just to prepare you. It's just another tool. It does not mean that we want you out there trying to be the hero. It's just if you are in this situation, you know what to do. So I'm going to show you first how to do the maneuver, and then we're going to line up here, and we're going to do, half of us are going to come to the stage, half of us will do the back. We want you to practice on both weapons, whether it is a rifle or a handgun. Give us 1 second for my lieutenant to come on stage. Any questions so far? Comments? Concerns? Anyone nervous? That's okay to be nervous. Show of hands. Who's nervous? That's okay. Yeah, it is like a movie. Yes, you have a comment? No? You're just nervous? Oh, that's normal. That's fine. So one of the things they mentioned is that it does not matter the size of the assailant. As you can see, I am 4'11". My lieutenant is 6'3". That doesn't matter. You shouldn't be intimidated by that, right? So they told us, if we're in a room where we cannot barricade, and it could be your classroom, right? It can happen, unfortunately. You want to use what to hide? Where do you want to be up against? The walls of where they're entering, right? Because they're not going to see you. If you are in front of their view, they're going to see you as they're walking in. So you want to position yourself up against the wall right at that entrance doorway, right? So am I going to wait for his entire body to walk in and then act, or am I going to act the second that I see that barrel? The second I see that barrel, I'm going to use my legs. Ladies, we have strong legs. Use them. Do not be intimidated by that. We're going to step forward. I'm going to use my leg that's closest to the person, stepping forward, grabbing that barrel. I'm going to go down and around. It does not matter what side you're on. The same concept. So you guys imagine a doorway over me. I'm up against the wall. He walks in. I'm stepping forward, grabbing that barrel, down and around. I promise you, he will either come down with you or he's going to break a finger if his finger's in that trigger and he's going to release the weapon. You have to do, if you are choosing to do this, if this is your only option for survival, it has to be intentional. You're not going to just be fearful and run like this. You have to do your full force. It is your life or theirs. Do you want to survive? Yes, and you're going to survive. You have to be intentional, and the same thing with the other weapon. You have it? Yes. So again, stepping forward, grabbing that barrel, down and around. Do you see that I am not pointing it at myself? I am pointing it outward. Why? For obvious reasons, yes. All right, so we're going to do it this way. The first row, we're gonna go row by row. So you're gonna line up this way. Clarence, you have both as well, right? You guys are gonna go to that section, right? So I wanna make sure that you do both weapons. My lieutenant will be holding the rifle, and Clarence will do the handgun as well. So come on up, line up on this side. And you guys can go to the back. Everyone should do the maneuver, if possible, please. And you can get started. And then as they sit down, you guys can go up next, okay? The next row can go to the back, please. Okay, perfect. You guys stand up and go to the back over there, please. Él es así, ¿cierto? Claro, just hold on. We're gonna go row by row. Sí, tienen que ir todos. Yes, and you use your legs to move like that. Yes, go. Or you want to move them? No, allá para allá. Los dos, hombre.
All right.
You guys can go to the next section back there. He doesn't have to do it if he doesn't want to. But you definitely should do it, Kayla. Oh, you want to? Okay.
All right, great. Excellent. All right.
You guys got to do both weapons? Or just the rifle? Okay. Yeah?
How are you? All right, that's it.
fire, right? The girls are always, they're ready. Some of you here can see, guys, in my far back. You guys can, half of you can go here too. That's empty over here. Back here. You guys can go here. Mándaselo antes.
Yes, you got this. All right. You know, all right, so assuming that we make it to me. What you're playing, that's what you're playing.
What happened to my guys? You left the women to do all the fighting alone? Wow. My boys just stood by and just supervised. That was excellent, ladies. Excellent. All right, I need the next set of 8 people in the front row to come to this door, please. Let's stay calm. That was awesome. There you go. Put it down. Put it down. You got him. You got him. Something that we have not discussed. When you grab that weapon from the assailant, what do you want to do with it? Put it as far away from you as possible. Why? Who else is coming into this room to take down the assailant? Yes, law enforcement. Most of the time, they don't even have an accurate description. So if you are, all they know is that there is a person with a weapon, right? If you are that person holding the weapon, do you think you are a threat to the police officer? Yeah. Yes. So they may be an instance where they shoot before asking questions because all they know is that there is someone with a weapon. So again, you get rid of the weapon, push it away from you, put it in a garbage can, get rid of it. Do not be holding it. All right. Quickly, there is a QR code up for you guys. You need to do it. Sitting here, it's only 8 questions, it's anonymous. Complete the survey. When you are done completing the survey, show me your phone and you are going to get a raffle ticket outside and come back so that we can raffle a prize. Please, parents, if you can, complete it for your young adult, please do so. For those of you that completed the survey and have your certificate, please come see my volunteer right here. All right, so the prizes are going to be, you can pick between a bleeding control kit or you can pick an emergency go bag. All right, those are the options. All right, I am trusting that everyone's in the survey, right? Okay, here we go. 379240. Come on up. Can we get a round of applause? All right, what's gonna be the pick? There you go. All right, 3 more. 379242. 379242. Going once. Going twice. That's you? Come on. Bleeding control kit or emergency bag? Round of applause for our volunteer. Thank you. Three, 7, 9, 2, 3, 7. 3, 7, 9, 2, 3, 7. Awesome. Round of applause. What do you want? Bleeding or an emergency bag? There you go. Can we do one more, boss? It's in the budget. All right. I like that. 379203. There's only this left. I'm going to just raffle all of them. Is that okay? Okay. It's in the budget. 379234. 379234. We have 2 more. Round of applause for our winner. I feel like I should go on a game show. All right, let's see. 379196. 379196. Ooh, we have our first parent winner. Awesome. There you go. All right, last one. 379215. Congratulations. Awesome, guys. So, does everyone have a certificate? Yes, I really hope you enjoyed today. We thank you for your time. I'm sorry that we kept you longer, but we just want you to more empowered and ready to take action if God forbid you are faced with a situation. Give yourself a round of applause. You completed an amazing training.